Alrighty, lads, it is I, Free 700. We are back with some Warhammer 40k lore. This time, what the fuck is the Crimson Slaughter? Now, this is interesting because I usually don't cover Chaos Warbands, just because they usually don't matter that much, unless they have particular individuals in their warbands who are like exalted heroes, stuff like that. But the Crimson Slaughters stick out like a sore fucking thumb, because you see, they're so unique. They're so weird. They're like the World Eaters, but just better. They're just better in every way. So, with that being said, what exactly is the Crimson Slaughter, and why is it that Freezer 700 would feel the need to say, fuck the World Eaters, I like the Crimson Slaughters now? So, let's get on into it. The Crimson Slaughters. They're a remarkable warband. They're actually relatively young in their age. But the thing is with the Crimson Slaughters is that they were once a chapter. They were once known as the Crimson Sabers. But the entire chapter was declared traitorous for mysterious means. I'll cover that in the Crimson Saber video, which will be quite lengthy. But for this video, we're going to talk about what is unique about this chapter that made them become traitors. They have been infected. You see, they were magically, ritualistically mind-fucked by a small group of cultists, chaos worshippers, on a planet known as Umidia. And on this world, it had plentiful forests, plentiful factorums. The cultists were enacting a ritual, and they were a relatively small cult. To this day, it's kind of speculated whether there was a cult at all on the planet. But by the time the Crimson Saber chapter landed there, the cult enacted their ritual, which gave this chapter schizophrenia. You see, the Space Marines, they have a special augmentation that allows them to channel out noises, channel out sounds, to be able to ignore all the background noise and focus on a particular noise. So in the middle of battle, you may be wondering how the hell it is that they can hear each other when there's explosions going off every second around them. That's how. They have that special implant. But this magical warp fuckery that has been given to them has made things a little bit different. See, the voices are in their minds, so they cannot tune it out. They are forever on edge, forever stuck with the screams of the slain that they have done. I'm not joking. Every person that they kill is a new voice in their head. This, of course, can be screaming, which typically it's usually screaming. So you just have a bunch of voices just screaming in your head at all times. And some of them are whispering. Some of them are chanting magical words. Some of them are even giving you insidious advice, like goading other Space Marines to usurp the warband's leader and take his power and lead the new warband. But that usually fails. You see, this has been a very dark curse, and it drove the chapter insane. This is why they are in the Eye of Terror as traitors. Now, their leader would be the infamous KHORNE the Relentless. He was originally the guy who brought them to their current chaos state. He has been leading them for a long ass time. And the thing with him that's very interesting is that he is essentially a KHORNE worshiper, but he exemplifies the difference between a Space Marine chapter master and a Chaos Warband leader. And it's just so interesting when you dive into his mind. Because you see, he may worship Chaos, but he only worships them because of the benefits he gains. He doesn't worship them for any other reason. He's not a fanatical, like, oh, let's pile a bunch of skulls for KHORNE. He's not there yet. He might, seeing as how his story is progressing, but he isn't. He's not quite there yet. But KHORNE has a sense of honor. He refuses to just, backstab people or blindside an opponent. He doesn't believe in that. He's very honorable. Even now, after all of the chaos twists and turns, his honor may be a little twisted, like butchering civilians now, nilly-willy, just because he finds it more honorable they die by his sword rather than, turn mad into cultist. But he is also a tactical genius. This guy can orchestrate entire assaults on planets and make them come to fruition. He knows how to plan. He knows how to strategize. He knows how to keep his power. He knows not to trust too much into chaos. He's perfect. In my opinion, he's amazing. He's awesome as fuck. Now, the only issue is that he's constantly, relentlessly searching for a cure to his warband's insanity. He is constantly looking to undo the ritual that has infected their minds with the voices of the slain. This is a quest that other chapters in Chaos have definitely taken advantage of. In fact, he's used to it by now. Like, he even talks about how it's an honor that his warband was chosen out of all the warbands to lead Abaddon the Despoiler's assault. He talks about how it's great and honorable that they have a word bearer leading with them in the fight. But he does not let that distract him from the truth of the matter. He always says it, I guess Abaddon thinks that we're a fool and thinks that we're just going to fall for his idea that if we take over this world, we'll be cured of our schizophrenia. Nah, I don't buy it. Abaddon, I'm not that stupid. Or when the word bearer tries to interrupt him and goes, oh, I need more souls. Can you send more my way? He'll just go, shut up, get off the Vox. I got a war to win right now. If you need something, get it yourself. He is very interesting. I love him. He's truly what I want for the World Eaters. He's very honorable, very bloodthirsty, relentless as hell. That's why they call him Cranon the Relentless. He's a tactical genius. He doesn't just simply charge at the enemy and just say, fuck it. No, he actually plans. He strategically puts his forces in locations that will be difficult for the enemy to anticipate. And while he may receive benefits from KHORNE himself, he does not overly devote himself to it, which is, again, amazing. These are like the perfect KHORNE soldiers. They're just amazing as fuck. Interestingly enough, this warband, despite being worshippers of KHORNE, do not actually care about using psychers. You see, the World Eaters don't use psychers. They don't. Anytime you're a psyker, they'll sacrifice your ass to KHORNE, because KHORNE hates psychers. This chapter will actually use them. This warband, I mean. Now, you see, what they have is this really amazing ability where they can actually use their infected schizophrenia. They can actually use that in the warp. It's amazing as fuck. But what happens is the sorcerer, Drasnik, can actually enact a powerful spell where all the voices in the warband's head come out as like dark shades of ghost coming from the ground, pulling the enemies down into the immaterium. Or the souls can just simply start ravaging and tearing machines apart. They can melt the very wires inside a Mechanicus Skitarii, causing him to burst into flames as his innards get melted and burned from the wires and coppering just melting inside him from the souls ravaging his body. This can wipe out an entire regiment of Skitarii. It's actually in the books too, which is amazing. It's like, again, these are the best KHORNE worshippers I've ever seen. These are literally the best KHORNE faction ever. Now, we may talk a bit about their schizophrenia here. You see, the Butcher Nails of the World Eaters is pretty badass for a lot of reasons. The Butcher Nails actually rewires your physiology, and it changes the way your body works. So that way your hits are a lot harder than they should be. But at the same time, is constantly drilling into your head, is constantly hurting you. There is nothing you can do to stop the pain, except for when you're in a nice fight. But when you're in a fight, it will release pleasure. That can lead you to be a Slaaneshi worshipper. We've seen it a few times. Now, on the other hand, the Crimson Slaughters, they just are driven to insanity. They are constantly being screamed at, like, just constantly. Imagine having 30 drill sergeants screaming in your ear at the top of their lungs, and then try having a conversation with a guy. It's impossible. It is literally impossible. So, they drive themselves into a relentless bloodlust to bring quiet to their minds. Because if they kill enough people, if they bathe in enough blood, the voices can stop for like a total of 3 days. And in those 3 days, they rest. They sleep. They're like, oh my God, this is so good. They don't sleep the entire 3 days. After all, they're Space Marines. They don't need a full days of sleep. They actually only need like 30 minutes. But they can rest. They can relax. They can just have a discussion for once. They can think things out without having all this constant screaming in their head. So they don't necessarily fall into pleasure. They don't fall into Slanesh. So this again makes them even better for KHORNE. As if KHORNE needs them to, pick up the pace, he could just increase the sound of the screams that they're hearing, which actually does happen. Before a fight, sometimes the screams get a little louder, and it's hard for them to even hear each other walking by each other. Now, you may have noticed throughout the video, I've had a lot of pictures up here. It shows you how to paint them correctly. Like, if they're a chosen warrior in the Warband, their colors will be inverted. If they're particularly blessed by KHORNE, or if they just stood out as like really exceptional soldiers, their colors will be different, which I find really amazing that their chapter has all this history and all this color schemes depending what you're going for. Like, if your Space Marine has inverted colors, where in other words he's gold with red trimmings and red detail, that means he's blessed. That means he's chosen. If he has a white helmet, that means that he killed a saint. Like, this is a different type of chapter indeed. I love this Warband a lot. I actually think I'm just going to use them from here on out because they're reasonable. They don't exclude all these things from their tactics. They're like, yes, we have honor. Yes, we will charge out and meet our enemies in the front, in the face, but we're not going to do it stupidly. We're not just going to charge out there like KHORNE the Betrayer does and just berserk deep into the enemy lines, giving absolutely zero fucks about our army behind us. Like, we're not Angron. We're not here to say my army is just simply my bodyguards who are trying to catch up. No. That's not the way we do things. We have plans, we have order, we attack the enemy in the best way possible. If we can't do it honorably, we will make it honorably. We will slaughter a bunch of civilians till they meet us head in combat. And just because we are KHORNE worshippers does not mean that we exclude the benefits of Psykers. Does not mean we exclude the benefits of using tanks. Does not mean we exclude the importance of space warfare. There's a lot of things about this warband that is just so amazing. I love them a lot. I hope you guys like them a lot. I hope you guys research them on your own now that you just watched the whole video on them. And I hope you guys just leave a like. Tell me what you think down below. Comment as always. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It is very much needed. After all, we're almost there to 600 subs. Woohoo. And probably in a month from now, I'll be looking back going, only 600? I'm at like 2,000 now. But hey, see you guys next time. It's been a pleasure as always.